Most people believe that somewhere out there is the perfect diet, the one that finally works, the one that melts the weight off, the one that fixes everything. Keto, paleo, Mediterranean, intermittent fasting, each one promising to be the answer. But if there really were a perfect diet, why do so many people keep starting over? Why do so many people losing weight only to gain it back? And what if the real problem isn't that people haven't found the right diet, but that the idea of a perfect diet is the very thing holding them back? Today on the Personalized Fitness Podcast. Hello again, everyone, and welcome to the Personalized Fitness Podcast. I'm your host, Garrett Williamson, president of Personalized Fitness, and as always, we are here to talk about health, fitness, longevity, and pushing back against what I call the lie of age. That belief that, or actually, as I like to say, the ridiculous concept that time passing on a calendar actually causes deterioration. At Personalized Fitness, we see something very different every day. We see people improving their strength, their energy, their mobility, and their confidence at ages when most people believe those things are supposed to be going the other direction. And that's because we believe your level of ability is determined by four key factors: fitness, nutrition, lifestyle, and the most important, mindset. Not your age. If you ever wanted to reach out to us, you can contact us at www.personaledgefitness.com. You can email me, Garrett, Garrett, at personaledgefitness.com. And you can call us at 251-341-0927. You can also follow us on the Personalized Fitness Facebook page, where we post all our podcast episodes and additional content. And today, we're diving into something that affects nearly everyone. Whether you've struggled with weight, tried multiple diets, or simply felt confused by all the conflicting information out there, today we're talking about the lie of perfect diets. The search for perfect. Let's start with a very simple question. How many diets have you tried? Most people can list several. Keto, low carb, low fat, intermittent fasting, calorie counting, meal replacement plans, sugar busters, South Beach, Scarsdale if you want to go back that far. And every time someone starts a new one, they think, this is it. This is the one. And for a while, it often works. Weight comes off, energy starts to improve, and because of that, your motivation is very high. But then something happens. And what is that something? Well, simple. Life happens. And suddenly the perfect diet doesn't feel so perfect anymore. The real problem isn't the diet. Here's the key I want you to understand. Most diets don't fail because they don't work. They fail simply because they don't fit. They don't fit your lifestyle. They don't fit your preferences. They don't fit your social life. They don't fit your long-term reality. And when something doesn't fit, you eventually stop doing it. As with all my podcasts, let's look at what the research shows. A major study published in JAMA, that's the Journal of American Medical Association, in 2018 compared low-fat and low-carb diets over 12 months. The result? There was no significant difference in long-term weight loss between the two groups. What mattered most wasn't the type of diet. It was strictly adherence. Another large-scale review in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition in 2014 compared multiple popular diets and found that while many diets produce short-term results, long-term success depends on, you guessed it, consistency, not dietary style. And perhaps the most importantly, a study in the New England Journal of Medicine, 2019, showed that while different diets can produce metabolic differences, behavioral adherence remains the dominant factor in sustained weight loss. Now, let me say that again. The best diet is not the one that works best in a lab. It's the one you can stick with in real life. We typically fall into what we call the all or nothing trap. One of the biggest problems with the idea of a perfect diet is that it creates an all or nothing mindset. People think, I have to do this exactly right, or it doesn't count. So what happens? They eat perfectly Monday through Thursday, typically because you have a regular work schedule or something that keeps you somewhat in line. Then Friday comes, or Friday night at least, and everything falls apart. And instead of saying that was just one meal, you typically say, I blew it. And now the entire weekend is off track. And by Monday, you're starting over again. Real life isn't perfect. Let's be honest. Real life includes real life. Birthday parties, vacations, dinners out, family gatherings, stressful days, late nights. And they all include I was doing great, but I forgot I had this. Or a friend of mine called me and we had to go. A diet that only works when life is perfect, well, it doesn't work. Now, if you're just joining us, this is the Personalized Fitness Podcast, and today we're talking about the lie of perfect diets. If you'd like to reach out to us, feel free to contact us at our website, personalizedfitness.com. Email me, Garrett at personalizedfitness.com, or reach out to us at 251-341-0927. And if you're enjoying this conversation, you may want to keep an eye out for my upcoming book, The Lie of Age, where we break down into detail how fitness, nutrition, lifestyle, and mindset, not time, actually determine your long-term ability and health. All right, let's get back to it. What actually works? So if there's no perfect diet, then what does work? What works is finding an approach that is, first thing, sustainable. Secondly, it's got to be enjoyable. Third, you obviously have to have some flexibility, so it's got to be flexible. And last, and I say it's the most important, and that is realistic. Definitely not perfect. You've probably heard this before. Perfect is the evil of good. Well, it works in this case too. You want this to be livable. I'll tell you what our philosophy is. At Personalized Fitness, our approach to nutrition is built around what we call the lie of food. And that lie is there is no such thing as bad food. Now, that idea is everywhere. People label foods as clean or dirty, good or bad, healthy or unhealthy. You hear this. I don't eat that junk. I don't eat that trash. I eat clean. But in reality, that way of thinking is what causes so many people to struggle. I argue that the lie of age has caused far more damage than it ever helped. Because not only the lie of age, but the lie of food. Because the moment you label something as bad, what happens? You either avoid it completely or you eventually give in and you feel like you have failed. You feel like a failure. So instead of focusing on labeling food, we simply simplify everything down to three fundamental things here at Personal Edge. Water, calories, protein. That's it. Are you staying hydrated? Are you consuming the right amount of calories? Not too many and definitely not too few. And are you getting enough protein to maintain and build muscle? Because without protein, you don't maintain muscle. And without muscle, your body loses one of its greatest tools for longevity and function. Now, everything else, keto, paleo, intermittent fasting, carnivore, all of these approaches, those are what we call gimmicks. And I don't mean that in a negative way. A gimmick is simply a tool that helps you do something more consistently, just like putting rubber bands on a water bottle. This doesn't make you drink water, but it can help you remember to drink water. It helps you track it. It's a gimmick. But it's a gimmick that might work for you. These programs, these different diets, they work because they give structure. And if that structure helps you stay consistent with your water, your calories, and your protein, then it's working. Not because it's perfect, but because it fits. Here's a better way to think about nutrition. So instead of asking, what is the perfect diet? Ask, what helps me? Not your friend, not your significant other. What helps me consistently manage my water, my calories, and my protein? That question simplifies everything. Because now you're not chasing perfection. You're not labeling foods. You're not starting over every Monday. You're building a system that works in real life. Let's look at the bigger picture. This ties directly back to the lie of age. Because what people assume is happening as they get older is that their body is breaking down automatically. But what often really happens is this. Hydration decreases, protein intake decreases, therefore muscle mass decreases, and consistency decreases. And over time, those small changes compound. It's not age. It's not time passing on a calendar causing the decline. It's the gradual loss of the habits that support function. Remember, folks, there is no perfect diet. There is no single way of eating that works for everyone forever. But there is a perfect approach. And that approach is this. Find what works for you, for your lifestyle, for your everyday. Do it consistently. Allow flexibility and improve over time. Because in the end, it's not the diet that determines your success. It's your ability to sustain it. And helping you build that sustainable approach. Well, that's just one more way we help you reach your level of wellness. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I look forward to seeing you next time.